Welcome to ASP Stuff Radio, the internet radio show where all stuff matters. Matters such as, does all stuff matter? Or is there some stuff that really doesn't matter? Like the topic, does all stuff matter? Or does the Matterhorn have any matter? Today is Wednesday, July 13th. I'm your host, Aristalbert. With me are your guests whose lives really matter, Stevocrates and Plato. Welcome!
Woohoo, our names are the same. They haven't evolved.
They didn't change.
They didn't change because they matter.
There we go. That must mean that we do matter.
You do.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All lives matter.
No, only certain ones.
Certain lives matter. So Donald Trump's life, does that matter?
Yes.
Rapists?
Rapists' lives matter?
Yeah.
No.
Pedophiles?
Yes.
No. Yes.
Okay. Non-human animals?
Yes.
Philosophy professors?
No.
Okay, so not
Definitely
all.
not. Welders?
Welders?
Oh yeah,
it
they're
depends.
important.
Oh, yeah.
Depends.
Middle class. Working blue collars.
So not all lives matter.
Off to a good start. We just alienated about 10 different demographics.
The usual stuff.
Right off.
That's our job. Weed them out. Like in my first day of class, I weed out
Smoke them out.
50%
Smoke
of
them
the
out.
class.
Carpet bomb them out.
Carpet bomb.
So what's the Chimera thing to talk about?
Well, before we get to the juicy Chimera story, we should talk about recent events since our last show. Seems
the
like
latest shooting.
the latest shooting. It seems like every time we finish recording an episode, something tragic happens.
Yeah, because then you know that ASP really stands for a shooting podcast.
A shooting podcast.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
Now
very
we know.
dark.
So what happened?
So what's going on with
latest,
these?
What's the latest death?
Yeah. So what's going on in the world of chaos and disorder?
Well, everybody kind of knows, right? There's a couple of social or shootings that were captured on social media, right?
All right,
So how did it all started in Minnesota, or where was the first shooting?
I think it was Minnesota. That was the most controversial.
well, there was,
I mean, they're both controversial, but the Minnesota one.
okay. So what happened?
I guess this policeman stopped a couple on the street for a broken tail light, right?
Mhm.
And the cop said to both the man and the woman, "Hey, can I see some license and registration?" The man reached down to his back pocket to get his license and registration. He's a passenger, and as he was reaching down in his back pocket, he said, "Excuse me, sir. Before I get out my license registration, I have a gun back here, and I do have a license to carry the gun, and I got the permit." And,
He said
and
all
at
that.
that moment, that's what I believe happened. I don't know for sure. I wasn't there.
Okay, but that's what
This
that
was
is.
what was reported.
Yeah.
This is what was reported by his female companion later on. And then none of this was captured on video.
Exactly. That's news to me. I didn't know that he actually said, hold on, officer. I have a weapon in my pants.
We don't know. We can assume he said it like that. We can assume he said it a different way. I don't know. None of that was captured on video.
In a non-white way.
In a non-white way, whatever that
Oh,
means.
wait. Stephen never said the race.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
So
we
what color
don't-
skin was this fellow creature?
Does it matter?
All lives.
It does matter. Okay, so he was of the African American descent.
Or persuasion.
Persuasion. What? Persuasion?
I don't know. Isn't that the phrase?
Yeah. I think
Okay,
that's
so anyway, the
politically
story-
correct.
so he-
Persuasion.
So he tells the cop, "Excuse me, sir, but I have a gun. I have a license to carry it."
Yeah.
So
Okay.
then
So
what?
the cop, I'm guessing the cop panics and he shoots him.
Okay.
Wait, the cop, he just opened fire on both of them?
No, just the male passenger companion.
Okay.
So
But-
the So he's injured pretty badly.
Okay.
He's bleeding out, bleeding a lot. And at which moment the female companion turns on her video camera on her cell phone and begins to record. And her male companion is dying. But she kind of explains the whole situation. I mean, she's pretty calm for what's going on. Like her boyfriend's about to die, is dying in front of her. But she actually records him dying. He's not really moving, but you can kind of see him breathing a little bit. So you capture the moment this gentleman dies. It's captured all on video. Do they catch the cop shooting him? They do not. None of that is captured. Are you sure? Because I could have sworn I heard someone say that the cop sounded like Chris Farley when he was panicking.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
Okay, so yeah. So all that is captured. The actual firing of the gun is not captured, but the cop panicking, like, "Oh my gosh, what the hell? What is going on? What is going on? What happened? What just happened?" Yeah, so just imagine Chris Farley from Tommy Boy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he's realizing he just killed somebody, and it could be the first time he killed somebody. I don't know his whole background. It quite possibly is the first time the cop had ever killed somebody.
Which makes sense.
You would be panicking if you were somebody, you just shot somebody and you killed them. And if you killed them because you weren't sure why you shot.
Well, yeah, that's the funny part. Was the lady said, "Officer, you asked him to pull out his wallet, and then you shoot him."
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God! Please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
You can imagine why there's this whole public outrage, because you hear this cop, you don't capture the gunshot, but if you're panicking like that, everybody would kind of go on to assume that you did something pretty wrong.
And that was
on top of it, I don't know if it was her child or the couple's child. There was a child in the back seat that had seen all this.
How old was he or she?
Probably a toddler, no more than 2, 3, maybe a little bit older.
She didn't have a gun.
No, the baby did not have a gun.
And she was calm the entire time?
She was actually calm. In fact, later on, after I think the lady had been handcuffed, the child even said, "It's okay, Mommy. Everything will be all right." It was incredible.
Sounds fishy.
Well,
smells.
I don't think.
Smells like a hoax.
You're gonna have to watch it.
I didn't want to watch it. That was the thing. I was sick and tired of watching all this.
I mean, you'd be surprised. I mean, kids can react a lot different than
the darndest things.
Yeah.
That would be.
I mean,
I'd say the darnest things.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Mommy. Things will be okay.
It's okay. I'm right here with you.
And wasn't there another shooting like the very next day, or
might have been the same day? But that one was actually, I think the shooting was captured on that one.
Okay.
So I kind of saw that one as well, but it was a little bit harder to explain. It was people, some bystanders witnessing it, and this large gentleman, again of African descent, was tackled by 2 cops.
White cops of white descent.
Yeah, well, and just the other cop in the Minnesota shooting was Chinese.
Okay.
Now, this particular situation, I think they were both white, but, it took both of them to take him down. He's a big guy, and I don't know why they were tackling him. I don't know if it was just him being black or there was some incident, but they tackled him and got him on the ground. He wasn't really doing anything, but reportedly he had a gun, and because of that, he's allowed to be shot. I'm putting my bias in there, but I don't know. I think
he was resisting arrest. Right, and then
maybe he's resisting. Not knowing the backstory. He could have been resisting arrest.
Doesn't really matter.
if you capture that on video, people are going to react.
So they shot and killed him too?
Yeah.
The white cop just stuck.
There are two cops. They had him down, and I believe one of them shot him a couple times.
Because he thought that the black guy was going to pull out a gun. Or someone called out, the second guy, one of the cops called out, he's got a gun, he's got a gun!
Yeah, I think, that sounds familiar. He's got a gun, which thought is allowed in most 99% of America, but I don't know.
So when the cop yells out, he's got a gun, he's got a gun! And the black guy starts pulling something out, the natural reaction is...
There it is. With anybody or with just certain persuasions?
Well, I would imagine that color has nothing to do with it.
And you shoot to kill, I think.
If you're apprehending a big guy and he's resisting arrest and there's a struggle and there's adrenaline and one of your partners calls out or shouts out that he's got a gun and he keeps resisting and he seems to pull out something, it's either your life or his life.
Yeah. I mean, the only,
the other thing,
I'm just saying the difference here is it was captured it went viral.
Okay, but here's my critique. You're seeing a point of view from that third point of view, right? The camera's point of view. You're not seeing it directly from the cop's point of view, the two cops' point of view. You can't see what the two cops are seeing. If you look at the video, you're far away. You're seeing it from a completely different angle.
Yeah, you can't even see where the guy's hands are, really.
Yeah, all you see is a black guy pull out a gun. The white cop pull out a gun, shoot black man.
Yeah.
But you don't see anything from the point of view of the two cops.
No.
So they probably were justified in shooting this guy more so than the Minnesota one.
Yeah, that's why I don't really bring up. I don't kind of go in detail on the other one because I don't really know what the circumstances. In the Minnesota one, it's pretty clear that the cop was panicking. That he really did not have a handle of the situation, and
the combination of the two was really bad.
Yeah, and he continued to point at his gun at the dead guy, which was weird. Why do you... I mean, the guy was clearly passed out, bleeding, and why are you still pointing your gun? As if you're still kind of contemplating, what the hell did I do?
Did he? So he didn't really call for backup or anything? He was just...
I mean, there was backup there. I mean, there as the situation evolved, more and more cops started showing up. And
then
I
they
think
just
he was with
pointed
his
their
partner.
gun at the guy.
Right, yeah. And they don't know if she's got a gun. They don't know if the kid's got a gun. They don't really know what's going on inside the car. I mean, now Facebook and all of this, the entire public knows what's going on inside the car. It was all captured. But at the time, the cops, I mean, they are going to have a million guns pointed at this car because they can. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably standard procedure, though.
Standard procedure. Throw 100 cops at the situation.
I don't know if you... I didn't see the video, but I did see still images of that particular incident. And one criticism of the event, that it's a hoax, that it's not real, is that there was no hole in the guy's shirt. There was blood all over his shirt. It was a white t-shirt, but there was no hole in the shirt, which you would expect considering it was a bullet that went through you.
Yeah, well, if I'm looking at my computer screen or watching through my cell phone, it is really on his right side of his body. She's filming from the left side, so all the blood is really gushing from the right side of his body. So if you want to call it a hoax, maybe conveniently they planned it on the right side so you can't really see all of that. Mm-hmm. But if it is real, I mean, that's a pretty powerful image to see a guy die in front of your eyes.
Yeah, they also made Saving Private Ryan.
That's not real. That's a movie.
But it looks real.
We're pretty sure that's a movie.
Yeah.
Now this one we don't know.
My point is that if they can make realistic movies of a war, people getting shot and guts spilling out everywhere, then highly likely.
So that was, when was that? That was 2 days before the Dallas shooting?
Yeah.
I think it was I don't know.
The day before?
I thought it might have been that day.
I think it was no. It was about a day or two before
Okay.
the Dallas police shooting. So what's the retaliation? So the Black Lives Matter movement sprung up again, and apparently a leader of that movement, or one of the leaders of that movement, decided to get together with a couple other guys and hide in these buildings, at the top of the buildings, and shoot cops.
Now that's a spin.
Free for all shooting.
You could say it's a leader, but the popular folk media reported out as these sort of lone wolves that did that. And
now they don't call him a lone wolf; they call him a lone shooter.
Lone shooter
For some reason.
out in the branches, but really the Black Lives Matter movement is by all races, by all persuasions. And it's not necessarily completely organized, but it's really peaceful protest, and it doesn't involve violence. Now, the shooter, McKay, I forget his last name, Johnson, McKay something. He was an avid Black Panthers extremist, terrorist, whatever you want to say. I mean, he was all over Facebook, and he had formal military
Panther
training. He was a former in the military. He's a veteran.
So was he part of ISIS?
Or
He's part of nothing. I don't know.
No, he was a former member of an Islamic hate group.
Oh,
That's not reported out in the public media.
That's what I read somewhere.
So yeah.
So they're trying to somehow spin it so that he is a Islamic terrorist.
Yeah.
Even
Well,
though he really
if he's black, he's from the Black Panthers. If he's Middle Eastern, he's a terrorist. If he's white, he's a freedom fighter.
But there are blacks who are Islamic.
But he wasn't, because his name is Micah Johnson.
So he didn't make the full transition. Hence the former member of an Islamic hate group. I don't know.
And I don't know if he's employed by some security firm or
What's
G4S.
yeah, it could be.
So it's all tied together, then it all makes sense.
Yeah, and on a side note, when they are trying to get troops out of Afghanistan or out of these terrorist regions, what the government does instead is they contract companies which employ folks that have military training or enjoy killing people or enjoy shooting their guns, and so these companies get paid good money to go in these operations. So I'm assuming G4S is kind of one of these contracted companies that they fight our wars instead of us having to send our troops out. Instead of us having to brainwash people, hey, just pay people good money to do it. That's another spin on this that I'm kind of aware of. But anyways, what else do you want to say about that?
Well, the Black Lives Matter, I just think that I feel like we're going back to the 1960s civil rights movement all over again. Because now that you have the Black Lives Matter / the Black Panthers, notice Micah, what was his name? Micah
Johnson.
Johnson sounds like Malcolm X. Micah X. They call him Micah X Johnson, Malcolm X.
I mean,
that's a stretch.
Like I said, they found Black Panther postings on his page.
All right, there you go. And then recently, one of my friends sent me a link about a KKK flyer floating around in San Francisco. They want to revitalize the KKK movement against the Black Lives Matter.
Well, circulating that in San Francisco is not going to do much. I need to go to the red states.
Yeah, but there's KKK, there's white supremacists, there's Hitler worshippers, right?
Neo-Nazis.
They are, otherwise known as Trump porters.
That keeps you updated, our listeners, to recent violence in America.
Your latest violence reporters.
Was there anything?
I was talking about cats.
Is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, it's just it's triggered this whole idea that certain people's lives are more important than others, and everybody has their own perspective on that.
Now, do you? I find it slightly offensive when people want to emphasize that Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, but again,
you got to take it with a grain of salt there because.
But at the same time, I don't want to say that all lives matter.
You don't want to say?
No, because like I was joking around. Do rapists and pedophiles and fascist dictators do their lives matter?
Depends.
And what about the contradictory nature of that claim? All lives matter. What about non-human animals' lives? Certainly their lives don't matter.
Conscious beings, rational thinking
beings' lives matter.
Snails.
What about people, the senile, the comatose? What counts?
Look, whatever's profitable. I'm going to go back to whatever's profitable. That's what matters. Whatever will make a buck. Sad but true.
I think it's just don't kill anybody.
Yeah, don't kill anyone.
That has to be the message.
Don't kill anybody unless you are. Is there going to be just no killing?
No, just don't kill it.
Thou shalt not kill.
Dr. Kevorkian. Assisted suicides.
Unless requested.
Pokemon Go.
Wait, I thought we were going to stop talking about violence.
It's fighting.
It's fighting in an augmented reality. So it's not real violence.
It's what you find when you're playing the game that's violent.
And what is it that you find in this game?
Well, some people find Pikachu. Other people find Squirtle.
What's a Squirtle?
A little turtle that squirts water.
Okay.
It's a Pokemon.
But other people find dead bodies.
Yeah, that's funny.
According to the New York Daily News, Shayla Wiggins reportedly discovered a dead body in a river while playing the Pokemon Go app. While playing the game, Wiggins found out there was a Pikachu nearby and took a walk to the Wind River to see if she would find the Pokemon near the water. When she arrived at the river, she reportedly found a man in jeans and a t-shirt floating face down in the water.
So what is Pokemon Go?
I think it's this game that was developed in Japan a couple of years ago, and it was first just like an April Fool's joke, just a one-day thing that they did. And then they decided to develop it into a full-blown game, like an app that everybody can play. And you log in, I guess, and play the game. And it tells you on a real map where you can go to find a certain Pokemon. So you actually have to physically travel to a spot, look at your phone and see if you can, as you're scanning your phone around, see if you find the Pokemon in the real location. Like you have to actually travel to that location.
I believe you can be within 100 feet. I think it's 100. There's some range. I think it's about 100 feet. And if you're within 100 feet, once you're there, in order to capture that Pokemon, you have to do some special weird motion with your phone in your hand, like sort of like you're bowling, or it has to be depending on what Pokemon or how powerful this Pokemon is. You have to make some motion with your hand. If you do it just right, you capture.
So you're basically holding your phone out in front of your face, and then once you encounter a Pokemon on your phone, you start waving your hand around like you're a crazy person lost in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just don't fall into the water and drown.
Now, or get hit by a car.
From my understanding, there's also teams, and if you've ever watched Pokemon, which we've every once in a while back as young children used to watch the cartoon, but you have teams like a blue or yellow team. If you're if you can meet up as a team and start fighting one another as a team and build your experience. Now you can also meet up against other colored teams, and then if you fight them, you will weaken them. So it's kind of like a role-playing game that we're used to.
Yes,
Final Fantasy.
Let's play some Pokemon Go!
There you go. So you have level ups or experience, And if you're competing against opposing teams, you will level them down. If you're kind of competing with your own team, then you level yourself up. So it's kind of a little bit of a twist, but people get obsessive over this.
The twist is when you encounter an actual dead body.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that or you play while you're driving your car and crash into something.
Yeah.
So I
Which
would
is
think
true. It's happened.
Nintendo's the developer of this. Their stock has skyrocketed, like not skyrocketed, but it's been up by about 30% in recent days.
Now, this is a paid app you download and then...
you don't have to pay, but the only people that get any good, you can get level ups by spending dollar bills. So if you put money in, now all of a sudden you're increasing your power as a player.
You can cross the street without looking both ways.
Yeah.
That's your power.
Yeah.
Yeah. And helping the police find old dead bodies rotting away in some lake.
Maybe that's another conspiracy. Maybe the people who develop where these Pokemons are located.
I bet the guys who developed this game knew about this dead body and they placed a Pokemon right there.
I'm not sure if you can actually place a Pokemon. If people can place Pokemons where they want to. I don't know that enough about it.
So is there a gas exuding Pokemon thing? A Pokemon that releases gas or toxic air?
Probably. There's hundreds of Pokemons, right?
Nine Tudito, my droid, sent me a story about how the Holocaust 9C that he or it sent me a link of Pokemon. Someone was playing Pokemon Go, and they were told to go inside the Holocaust Museum, or what do you call it? Is it the Memorial of the Holocaust? And they found a Pokemon thing that was releasing gas.
Wow!
What?
Like, and it was really offensive to the.
Is this real or did somebody make that
No,
up?
it was real. It was real. So I'm thinking the developers are strategically placing Pokemons in certain areas to rile up some people.
Man,
It could be.
racist Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Eventually, I feel like Nintendo's going to get a lawsuit. So whoever's lawyer is,
Of course.
more well paid.
It's all about,
Yeah, they're not getting good legal advice with this.
Yeah.
there's
I
bound
want
to be
check some of
accidents.
those bugs in the game.
But they have a little disclaimer on the way bottom of the.
Who's going to read? What little
download
kid's
app.
going to read that disclaimer?
Well, it's mostly adults that pay hundreds of dollars to level themselves up that are playing. There's a level up.
So are you guys going to play Pokemon Go? Go find your dead body?
Well, once it's like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop.
Did you try it?
No.
No?
I had a coworker that explained me the whole concept.
Oh, they play it?
Yeah, one of them does.
Do you win anything?
You feel better about yourself at night. Well, actually, you don't sleep.
I think this is a good way for fat, obese kids to lose weight.
That's true. That's what Nintendo will be telling the public.
Get up, move around while you're playing a video game.
At least it encourages them to go outside into virtual reality.
I mean, it could be lucrative. Say they put a Pokemon halfway across the world, and
Travel.
Nintendo contracts with this airline. And I don't know. There's endless possibilities
Yeah,
here.
put Pokemons in Philosophy 101 class.
There you
Encourage
go.
students to enroll.
Alado benefits.
If you pass the semester, then you can have an opportunity to level up.
Yeah. Start. I think you should play the game, see what it's all about, and have your students win prizes.
They could all hold their phones up while I'm lecturing and fight Pokemons that are next to me.
If you buy something, you get a Pokemon. If you maybe there's a Pokemon located next to Starbucks, and you buy a little coffee. I don't know.
This reminds me of this universe being a simulation. The universe is like a Pokemon game, right? We're living in an iPhone app, and God and his cronies are trying to get points by wiping us out.
Yeah, maybe actually eventually it'll be real life. They'll weaponize the cell phones and fire at each other.
Who are God's cronies?
Zeus and Aphrodite and
who's he gonna hang out with?
Thor and God.
When everybody's dead, who's he gonna hang out with?
Hey, Thor.
Tyson.
How many levels did you get in Pokemon? Or what would it be called?
Have you guys watched Cosmos? You guys watch Cosmos all the way. He's a completely 180 personality.
Who they crack? The crack.
I'm a really nice guy in my Cosmos show.
I think he recently tweeted that he wants to create a world called Rationalia, where all policies are determined by weight of evidence.
Determined by science.
Science is going to determine which policies we should adopt.
That doesn't sound.
Has to cross with his ball sack removed from.
So
Chimeras.
Finally.
Chimera?
Camaro. Yeah. We're going to talk about human
Cats.
pigs.
Human cats.
This is Stevens, you should be excited. This is a story from NPR.
NPR?
Yeah. So what's the deal? What's the deal with chimeras? Well,
what is the deal?
In Greek mythology, a chimera is a fire-breathing female monster with a lion's head, a goat's body, and a serpent's tail. So any mythical animal with parts taken from various animals. Now, in biology, a chimera is referred to as an organism containing a mixture of genetically different tissues formed by processes such as fusion of early embryos, grafting, or mutation. So we can think of, say, a sheep-like goat chimera, or in this case, the human pig chimera.
So it doesn't have to be part human?
Fire?
That breathes fire.
Does it have to be part human?
Well, you have human parts.
Okay.
So let's listen to the story and its relation to the medical community.
Scientists are trying to do something that some people find disturbing: create embryos that are part human, part animal. These experiments are so sensitive that the National Institutes of Health is refusing to pay for them. A few researchers are trying anyway with private funding, and they hope these embryos, known as chimeras, could eventually help save thousands of people dying from terrible diseases. NPR health correspondent Rob Stein got unusual access to one of these labs. He brings us this inside look at whether scientists can and should be taking this unprecedented step.
The word chimera comes from a Greek myth about a three-headed fire-breathing monster, part lion, part serpent, part goat. The scientists creating real chimeras today say they're nothing like that. They use everyday farm animals, like pigs. Like this one, at a research farm at the University of California in Davis. I went there to meet Pablo Ross. What are you going to use these pigs to do?
So we're creating a chimera, which is an animal that has cells from two different species.
For example, a pig and a human.
We're not trying to make a chimera just because we want to see this kind of, monstrous creature. We're doing this for a biomedical purpose.
You see, Ross wants to grow human organs inside pigs, sheep, and cows. Organs like pancreases, livers, kidneys, even hearts.
This could be one of the possible solutions for shortages of organs. So potentially could save many, many people.
But to do that, Ross has to first try to make embryos that are part human, part animal. And that's something critics like Stuart Newman at New York Medical College say should be off limits.
You're getting into unsettling ground that I think is damaging to our sense of humanity.
Because, Newman says, it blurs the line between humans and other species and raises all kinds of possibilities that start to sound like something straight out of science fiction. We'll get into all that in a moment. But first, Professor Ross takes me into his lab to show me exactly what he's doing. He pulls open a thick black curtain. On the other side is an eerie scene. There's a big microscope. Something under the microscope's glowing orange and yellow. It's a dish that's lit up from below.
So there is 15 embryos there in the dish.
15 pig embryos that have been genetically engineered so they can't grow their own pancreases. The idea is to put human cells into the pig embryos so a human pancreas will grow instead. Everything on the microscope is projected onto a big computer screen. The embryos look like big circles. Ross uses the tip of a thin glass tube to hold one of the embryos by its shell.
We are going to use a laser to make a hole in that shell.
After he makes the hole, Ross moves to a cluster of little black dots on the screen.
What are those?
So those are human stem cells.
Human stem cells, which can be made from anyone's own skin cells and then can become anything in the body. Ross hopes they'll become a human pancreas. He pulls 5 of the stem cells into a tiny needle under the microscope.
And then through that small hole, I can advance my needle containing the cells. And now we're putting 2, 3, 4, 5 cells into the cavity of the embryo.
And with that, he's created a part pig, part human embryo, a pig-human chimera. He does this over and over again. In less than an hour, he's got 50 chimera embryos.
So by putting these cells inside the embryo, we hope that they will contribute to the tissues of the developing embryo.
And hopefully do something that's never been done before. Start to grow a human organ inside a pig embryo. After the animal's born and matures, it would be sacrificed to remove the human organ, so surgeons could transplant a perfectly matched pancreas into a patient with diabetes. But for any of that to happen, Ross has to take the next step, put the chimera embryos into the wombs of female pigs. He does that across the street in a big operating room.
So I just need to set up the scrub area, the gowns, and the surgical.
Dr. Joan Rao and her surgical team are getting ready for the operation. After the pig's asleep, Rao and her team get to work.
We're just now entering the abdominal cavity and then taking a minute to locate the uterus. Retract that.
As soon as she has the uterus, Ross rushes over with a special syringe filled with chimera embryos.
You got it?
Come on, underneath. That's yours.
So they can insert the end of the syringe into the uterus.
Wait. It's got to go down at that angle, though. I'm going to thread it down just a little more.
Yeah, thread it down.
The tip is turned a little bit, so I want to be real gentle advancing. Go ahead.
Ross squeezes the plunger, injecting the embryos into the pig's womb.
Okay, beautiful.
After that, the surgeons start closing up the pig.
That looks good.
And Ross finally relaxes. The genetically engineered chimera embryos are safely in the pig's womb. And now, he just waits. In a few weeks, he'll retrieve the embryos to see what the human stem cells are doing inside the pig embryo. He's doing this with sheep and cow embryos, too.
We're going to harvest the embryos and look to see if they contributed to the pancreas and where else did the cells go.
And that's what makes this so controversial. Ross can't know exactly where the human stem cells will go. He hopes they'll only grow a human pancreas, but they could go someplace else, like the brain. And that makes critics like Stuart Newman very nervous.
If you have pigs with partly human brains, you would have animals that might actually have consciousness like a human. It might have human-type needs. We don't really know.
Or the stem cells could accidentally form human sperm or human eggs in the chimeras.
And if a male chimeric pig mated with a female chimeric pig, the result could be a human fetus developing in the uterus of that female chimera.
Or maybe some kind of part human, part pig creature. Jason Robert is a bioethicist at Arizona State University.
One of the concerns that a lot of people have is that there's something sacrosanct about what it means to be human expressed in our DNA, and that by inserting that into other animals and giving those animals potentially some of the capacities of humans, that this could be a kind of violation, a kind of maybe even playing God.
Newman and Robert are not alone. Government scientists are worried about this too, so the National Institutes of Health has imposed a moratorium on funding any research like this. For his part, Pablo Ross defends what he's doing.
I don't consider that we're playing God or even close to that. We're just trying to use the technologies that we have developed to improve people's life.
His dream would be big farms breeding sheep, cows, and pigs with human pancreases, livers, kidneys, and hearts to save thousands of people who would otherwise die on the waiting list for new organs. But Ross is moving very carefully. He's only letting his chimera embryos develop for 28 days so he can stop and dissect them to see where the human stem cells are going. If the stem cells are going to the wrong places, he'll tinker with them to stop that. And he says he'd make sure any adult chimeras are never allowed to mate.
We're very aware and very sensitive to the ethical concerns. One of the reasons we're doing this research the way we're doing it is because we want to provide scientific information to inform those concerns.
Ross hopes his research will convince the NIH to lift the moratorium on funding these kinds of experiments, so he and other scientists can figure out the best way to create chimeras that help save lives without crossing any troubling ethical lines. Rob Stein, NPR News, Davis, California.
Okay. Well then.
So this is for Professor Aledo. Is a chimera pig-human ethical?
Yes.
Why?
Because it will help improve human lives, if not save them from terminal illnesses.
Will it improve pig lives?
Probably not. So the question that we should...
The sheep are going to get victimized next.
The sheep, the goat.
So do all lives matter?
See, that's why I mentioned, do all lives matter?
Not pig
pig lives, because they discard these embryos. Once they become baby pigs, they take out the pancreas and then they kill them.
Are human lives more important than pig lives?
Apparently, that's what the story is suggesting or indicating, that human lives have more value than pig lives.
Don't we currently have that situation in agriculture?
Yes.
So what would be the difference?
But to get back to the story, now you can dismiss this entire ethical dilemma if you simply grow human stem cells in human embryos.
Right. Isn't that what they're already doing or were doing?
They're very limited with how they do it. And if they are doing it, it's considered illegal or ethically or morally wrong. It depends on the type of stem cell research that they're doing. But the majority of the people don't like it because you're playing God. And playing God is wrong.
Well, and you're wasting human embryos, right? Whereas they could be fully functional beings instead of organs.
So why mess with the animals? Like why involve the animals if you can do this research without the animals?
Well, I guess wouldn't animal lives matter less? Isn't that?
Well, you'd have to be killing. You either kill a pig or a human, because
you're
human embryo.
A human embryo, right?
Yeah. Well, no, because remember, if you listen to the story, I had to listen to it carefully. They implant human stem cells in the pig embryo, and they need to put the pig embryo inside of a pig uterus. The pig gives birth to a piglet that contains the human pancreas. And then what do they do with that pig? They kill it. Piglet.
So they're just using the human stem cell, and that's it.
So it's the difference between a human embryo and a pig embryo, right? Because the human embryo could potentially be a person, whereas the pig embryo will be a pig and kill the pig.
Not necessarily.
So there's really no ethical dilemma if you have no problem with killing animals,
right? But the concern is that because stem cells are undifferentiated, they can potentially become any type of organ. Their concern is that the stem cells might not go to the pancreas of the pig. It might not develop into a pancreas in the pig. It might develop into a human brain.
Yeah, well, that's part of it, right? There's a number of ethical issues, right? So
that's it. Yeah.
Were any tests successful yet, or is this still very early?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't checked up on it since then, but the funding is coming directly from, I guess, the researchers, their own company. But the National Health Institute, they're not going to provide any funding.
It's too controversial.
In terms of its success, I don't know. I mean, should scientists and doctors be allowed to develop these chimera techniques to help if it's meant to save, if not improve human lives? Is it worth saving human lives? Or
Probably not.
I mean, what might be one reason why scientists should not create a pig-human chimera?
I mean, say it was yours. I don't know. It was a family member that needed one of these pancreas, and they were going to die.
So is it a full functioning pancreas, or is it like because
that's the intent, right? The intent is to have a fully functional,
healthy pancreas that can,
even though it's half pig.
But see that the technology is not as that very well developed right now. So even tinkering right now is even an ethical dilemma because you have to kind of wait and see how what organ is going to develop. That's what was reported, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't know what kind of organ. It might be random, like they say. It could be. Maybe the intent is to have a human pancreas, but a human brain instead develops within the pig.
So they're concerned that it might not even be a fully functional human pancreas.
And I refer to it as a technology, but they'd have to refine the method, and all this stuff is you have to experiment until you get it down.
But they're going to have to kill a lot of pigs.
Yeah, a lot of pigs, a lot of stem cells might be involved. Takes a while for something like this to be a mature technology, I guess, or a mature method.
And it's better to kill pigs than humans.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their assumption that they're operating with.
Than human embryos. I mean, so human or pig lives are not as important as human embryos. No. Would we agree?
Well, until you create the half human, half pig life form.
Would you be okay with having a pig that can have deep philosophical thoughts like humans?
It'd be interesting to discuss issues with.
You would essentially have Wilbur from Charlotte's Web.
Well, but now Wilbur wouldn't be speaking English. He'd be speaking pig.
Pig Latin.
So you'd have to have... He would be Latino pig.
Pig Latin. That's a good one.
Latino.
No, well, you'd come up with... I mean, you can get anything.
Yeah.
Just plain God.
That was an interesting quote that the guy said. He said, inserting human DNA into other animals and giving those other animals potentially some of the capacities of humans, this could be a kind of violation, maybe even playing God. So that phrase always concerned me. Like, what exactly does it mean to say that someone's playing God? Because the way I understand it, playing God is when a person interferes or violates the fundamental laws of nature. So if playing God is forbidden or considered a moral violation, then wouldn't we have to rule out a whole bunch of stuff that we normally do? So, for example, if I have a headache, that's natural. I'm experiencing pain in my head. Am I not playing God when I open up the medicine cabinet and pop an aspirin? If I'm cold, if I'm feeling cold, am I not playing God?
Not creating a pig human.
No, but fundamentally, I'm still playing God, right? If I'm cold, am I not playing God when I turn on the heater?
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent. There's degrees, and this is why philosophical discussion, levels of playing God.
And so some levels it's acceptable?
Like the Neil deGrasse argument. There's like black and white responses.
Yeah. So there are certain acceptable acts of playing
depending
God.
on our society and our
you can
culture.
be, as long as you're not playing a very powerful God.
Okay.
You can play like a little
God,
weak God who can cure headaches.
Okay.
But not a powerful one that can create pig humans.
Yeah, and that's inhuman. That's not human like create other humans and pigs that are human. It's inhumane.
It's inhumane. Now, okay. Now, what might be... Okay, let's suppose you're struggling with a horrible terminal illness. Would you want a genetically engineered organ grown in a foreign animal, sheep, cow, pig, whatever you choose, implanted in your body? So if you put yourself in the shoes of someone who's suffering from a terminal illness, would your moral views change?
Depends if I eat meat.
Would you be...
Right? I mean, isn't that a valid consideration? If I'm a,
you're right.
meat eater, I don't care what happens with these lives.
Get the pig pancreas in my body.
Yeah, like
in
what?
fact, I would cook.
Do you want bacon the next morning?
Do you want it melt, medium, rare, well done? How do you want your pancreas?
Can I eat, like, if I had that pig, it's pancreas, can I eat the pig after?
Okay.
Right? I mean, if I'm hungry.
That's one of the options you check on the medical form.
Would you like to have your pig after we've implanted its parts, its organs into your body? Now then we go back to the ship of Theseus. If you implant Steven's body, all the organs with pig organs, does Steven cease to be human? At what point is Steven no longer human and pig?
Well, at that point, he's a pig human.
He's a pig human.
It's Chimera.
I mean, really, once you insert that pig human organ into you're part pig.
Yeah, and that's going to create more problems. So people would start creating, all lives matter except pig humans. We don't want pig humans.
Then, right. So going
it's like
forward,
X-Men.
then if you eat bacon, you're a cannibal.
It becomes like the whole X-Men series of movies.
There you go. So, Steven, you can't eat your own kind, partial kind. You can't devour bacon anymore as a pig human. That's cannibalism, and that's wrong.
Everybody loves bacon, even pigs.
Just have to eat turkey bacon.
I think pigs would probably eat bacon. It's sad but true.
I don't know. This has a lot of pitfalls to it.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
Very controversial. Do you think I don't know the guy's name, but do you think what he's doing is ethical? And
Pablo?
I
mean, despite his intent, his good intent.
Yeah, I mean, why is he so passionate about this? Maybe he had somebody that died in his family that needed an organ.
Or he needs a lot of money. He needs a breakthrough in the medical industry.
He's just like a whitey mighty. Needs to stay in power.
For the money. So maybe that's where it becomes... That's the answer to your ethical question, is if you're doing it for the right reason. Is he doing it truly to save lives, or is he doing it to make money?
He's doing it to become God.
That's it. He wants to be omnipotent like God, all powerful. So we could spend another 20 minutes discussing this.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever get to an. We need Peter Singer to come help us.
Yeah,
determine. I'm sure Peter Singer's against it.
Yeah.
Well, we probably need a pig human.
He's against all forms of animal experimentation. I mean, most products that you use, your shampoo, lotion, makeup, they were tested on animals.
Yeah, but nothing was inserted inside their womb.
So some forms of animal experimentation are okay?
You'd have to ask me. Gotta ask Peter about it.
You should. Is there going to be another one of those discussions at ASU
with Peter Singer? I'm not sure. There will be. We'll find out in the fall semester.
Should bring up this subject to them.
Actually, wasn't there somebody in that ASU story?
Professor.
Yeah, bioethicist Jason.
Go talk to him.
Jason Robert.
We know he's against it.
Yeah, he's against it. I still think it's questionable, though. If a pig were to develop a human brain, I don't think it could develop consciousness like a human or have human type needs. I think that's what he said.
Well, I mean, pigs are pretty rational beings already.
Yeah, didn't you read?
Pretty smart.
George Orwell's
The Animal Farm.
Animal Farm.
Pigs are better. That's right. All right.
Smart.
So then when you add a human brain to a pig that's already pretty rational and smarter than most non-human animals, then it's possible to develop human consciousness or human-like consciousness.
Well, I mean, it would either have a pig brain or a human brain. It's not going to be a hybrid, right?
You never know. Stem cells can develop into a fully functional human brain inside of a pig.
That's what I'm saying. So it'll... But the other thing is a pig is a highly intelligent animal. So already as it is.
Yeah, so if you add to it a human brain, then it would become even more rational?
It would just be whatever how rational a human is. That's all.
I don't know. But how does it develop human consciousness? Wouldn't it need other components?
Well, now you're talking about what is consciousness, and now let's go for a day.
Plus, you would need it would need a central nervous system that's just like a human in order to develop.
I think you just need the brain.
Just the brain?
Right. Don't just need the brain.
But doesn't the brain need the central nervous system?
It is the central nervous system.
Yeah.
But isn't there
the brain? Yeah, the brain is.
I mean,
it just can't control
it's connected.
anything,
Isn't the brain connected to other parts of the body? I guess my point is the brain needs other parts of the human body in order for there to be consciousness. It needs all the parts, the human parts.
You're talking about limbs and
no, not limbs necessarily. Just the crude. You don't need like your toe for the brain to be.
Right, it already has in a pig. It would already have all that, right?
So you're saying the brain is implanted into a pig?
Yeah,
right.
You swap the brains. You put the human brain in the pig.
Yeah. So
there you go. You have a conscious
pig.
Rational thinking.
Now it wouldn't necessarily be able to speak English, right? But because of the vocal cords, the vocal box and all that is not the same, so it would only be able to speak.
So it
like a pig.
So it basically, it's trying to speak.
Yeah, well, it's trying to communicate like a human, but
it only comes out and
right.
So
but
essentially, you'd have Donald Trump. That's what you'd have.
So vote. How many people say yay for?
Should do a poll on the Twitter page.
Okay. So Steven, are you for or against chimeras?
It depends.
Paul, for or against, or it depends?
I would say against.
I would say for, but with some highly strict regulations, some oversight of some kind. I would say for only for me when I'm suffering from a terminal illness.
Yeah.
Against
just
for
everybody else.
For everyone
Create
else.
that pig pancreas and save it for yourself.
Yeah. Like if
you definitely wouldn't eat the pig, right?
If I'm starving, I might chuck away my ideologies.
Chuck it away.
Yeah. Completely out the window. All right. We have time.
All right.
Time for a quick game.
Yeah.
Quick. All right. This game is called Guess That Acronym.
Okay. Do we have to text it to you or just
on
the spot?
I'm gonna twist it a little bit. So I'm gonna give you you guys can take turns. I'm gonna give you several acronyms, and you need to guess the acronym with the name that the letters stand for.
Yeah.
So what do the letters stand for?
Okay.
Okay. So who would like to go first?
Sure,
Steven.
I'll go.
All right, Steven, go ahead. So here's the acronym. TGIF. TGIF. Guess that acronym.
Thank goodness it's Friday.
Incorrect.
What?
Incorrect.
I thought that was the name of that restaurant chain.
No. It is Thank God I Farted. Thank God I Farted. Okay, see that's
so it's gonna be like that. All right. So these aren't actual real.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see what else.
All right. So Paul, I'm gonna give you an acronym. TNT. If you want, you could try to guess the correct one. Still.
I don't even remember what TNT really stands for. The
I
explosive.
guess like it's a chemical compound.
Yeah, isn't it like
I didn't even know how to do something.
or Turner Network Television?
So there you go. Like good,
There.
good work.
Yeah.
So there's multiple meanings of these acronyms.
But what's the real one?
The real one.
Albert has the real one.
So trinitrotoluene. Trinitrotoluene.
Trinitrotoluene?
Well, we
Yeah.
want the joke one.
That's the correct one, right? That's you're asking for the
Yeah,
correct
Yeah.
that's the chemical.
But the real toots never trickle down.
That's D.
That's TNT.
TNTD.
Trickle down. Trickle.
Oh, that's one word.
Yeah, it's like a dash, hyphenated word.
Nah,
That's cheating. That's cheating.
Toots never trickle.
that would have been better.
Okay. True.
But
Toots.
they do trickle.
Yeah. Toots never trickle.
Sometimes they do.
Sharts. Toots, dude.
Sharts have shoots that trickle down.
Yes.
All right.
I'm questioning the people who came up with these answers.
Okay. Several more. Steven. FBI.
Female body inspector.
Female body inspector?
Yes.
No. Sorry, that is incorrect. The correct meaning of FBI is farts blow inward.
They
So these all have to do with farts or shards.
No, not necessarily. Well, there's a couple that aren't. Farts blow inward. That's the correct one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Paul. TBA. So when I'm in class and a student says, "Oh, when's the midterm due?" I say TBA.
To be announced. It's innocent.
No. Let me guess.
All right.
Toots behold announcement.
No.
Tremendous bowel action.
Oh, that's better than that's
That's a good
That's
one.
correct. Ding 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 ding.
Really?
No, what was it really?
To be assassinated.
That's too serious and depressing.
Change it up a little bit.
That's not.
Tremendous. No, but the correct one was tremendous bowel action.
Wow.
Really?
You were spot on.
Yeah. So Paul got one.
Yeah.
And the last one, CIA.
Chemical immediate asteroid.
Paul.
Central Intelligence Agency.
The correct answer is Chimera implanted armpits.
That one, oh, okay.
The gas related ones were better.
Yeah. I had to change it up a
We
little
like
bit.
the shards.
All right. No, next time it'll be all just farts and shards.
All right. There's some humor involved here.
Some new ideas for games.
Yeah, it's to keep it light after
Yeah, you
all
need
the
to.
shooting and violence and ethical dilemma.
Yeah, I need some sharts now and then. Just we need our audience to be educated. In case you don't know what a shard is, Steven, do you want to?
I think they know.
Yeah, they can look it up.
Okay, yeah, I can look it up what a shard is.
Yeah.
Just don't click on images.
That's the risk with Google.
Yeah. I've done that before.
Yeah.
Not with shards, but like, you don't want to do that.
With what, Alado? What did?
No, just random things. You just randomly clicking
we
on
wanna
like
know the
That joke was brought to you by Myra.
the images. Just don't click on images.
Just don't click on image.
But we already thought about the image. That's even worse.
Yeah. No,
I don't think so.
I think you'd rather prefer your imagination. Before I go, I just want to tell people that Trump is a rapist.
And just think about that.
Think about that.
Couple weeks.
Because that'll be our topic for next time.
I thought he was.
He's going to be nominated next week. It's going to be too late.
Oh, shoot. We should release the story now then.
It's too late already.
Too late, yeah.
There's no turning back.
Yeah. It's all said and done. He is our future orange chicken.
He is a living proof that the Chimera project worked.
I'm a chimera.
Pigs are orange?
So what is he a hybrid of? What two animals?
Well, they did it with a chicken.
So they got a chicken.
Or no, an orangutan.
Orangutan, chicken, and Trump. And some spices from Panda Express. Panda Express. So he's a multi... what would you call him?
Multiple chimera?
Multiple chimera? Chimera of various animal parts.
Well, the original chimera in the myths was like 3 different animals, right?
He breathes fire.
I wonder if you go on Google and type up under images Donald Trump chimera, I'm sure you'll find some interesting things there.
Sing it.
Sounds like W.
Bush having a ball. All right. Any final words?
Go to Rose Donuts.
Go to Roasted Donuts.
Rose Donuts.
Rose Donuts.
Where is that at?
In San Diego.
Okay.
Chris Bryant loves Rose Donuts and mentioned it during the All-Star game.
How did that come up again?
I don't know.
I was trying to figure that out.
They just asked him. He said, "Oh yeah, I went to a donut place."
This was during the All-Star game? They interviewed him? Or
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's because he went to USD when he was going to college.
Oh, okay.
And it's right down the hill, so
he's familiar with San Diego's hot spots.
Right.
Okay.
Just get the croissant sandwich, the bacon and cheese.
Big.
And a red velvet donut.
Yum.
Yep.
I never had their breakfast sandwiches at Rose Donuts.
What did you have?
All right.
What did you have?
Just donuts.
Okay.
They're good.
Not bad. Pretty good.
Good. Pretty good.
Aight.
With all the chimera genetically modified ingredients in my body, this is ASP Stuff Radio. We are all stuffed up.